us for our next podcast. My name is Tony Bonnock, and I'm the Director of Programming for the League of Chicago Theater. Today I'm joined by Hannah and Nealie from Lazy Susan Theater Company, and we are at Greenhouse Theater Center. Hi, y'all.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us. We love the League.
We love you all. We're so excited to have you all, not just as members, but just within our theater community, and to hear about everything that you all got going on. I know that you all are part of our Fresh Faces segment, but you all have already got a good bunch of work under your belt now.
Oh,
so
thank you.
We'd love to share that with our audience today. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you all a couple of questions and get a conversation going so that we can share what Lazy Susan Theater Company is all about.
Thank you, we're ready.
Sweet. So I just want to kick us off by asking Hannah and Nealie to tell us a little bit about your journey and what led you to founding Lazy Susan Theater Company.
Sure.
Yeah, I think
feel free to take that.
Yeah. I think we had come out of school. We were both kind of very much like the actor route, actor and also playwright kind of route. So we had like our specific niches. And once we got out of school, we're like, I think I might kind of want to direct something.
Right.
I want to produce something, and we felt like there was more variety to what we wanted to do within theater. And I reached out to Hannah because Hannah's a go-getter and always like I was just like, if there's someone to do this, I know it's going to be Hannah. So I reached out to her and I was like, I think we should start a theater company. And that's kind of, how it came about.
It is true. Yeah, I think I don't know. I got sick of submitting to agencies and waiting the 6 months and auditioning for things, which is sometimes, it's a fart in the wind sometimes, excuse my language. But yeah, so I was just like, I've always had a passion for producing work. I did a lot of producing work at Columbia through the playwriting program. And, it's just a big passion of mine. I'm like, we can do this, and the only thing that was missing was a name. So we sat down with the understudy. We love the understudy.
Shout out to the
understudy. And we came up with Lazy Susan Theater Co.
That's awesome. And love to hear that this is all Chicago based.
Oh, absolutely. Chicago born based. We were Chicago in the womb.
How long ago was this meeting of the minds? When did y'all decide?
It's been in the talks for about a year, but really things started to come together. Actually, one morning, our first kind of official meeting at Friday Morning Swim Club. Shout out Friday Morning Swim Club. We're such Chicago girls. And we jumped in the lake at 7 a.m. on a Friday morning, and we came out, and we were just sitting, drinking our hot coffee and wet bathing suits, and we're just talking about what we want to do, and I think that was when we were like, let's do a show in October.
Wow.
Yeah.
Again, I could not think of a more Chicago way.
I know.
That is awesome. Thank you for sharing. I want to dive a little deeper into Lazy Susan Theater Company and what it means. So can you tell us more about your mission and what your work is about at its core?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think our main focus is, cultivating new and adapted work. So a lot of our peers at school and a lot of people kind of in the 20 to 30 range, we're kind of wanting to bring them more into theater. So yeah, we were interested in doing, fun plays. I have a background in devising. That's kind of my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
So just, trying to get people together and make a community where, people feel like they can learn and make mistakes and kind of learn the tricks of the trade, once they're out of school and kind of in, more professional.
You don't have to be perfect at Lazy Susan Theater Co. Absolutely not. Which is, another thing about our mission is just I think it was really just creating a space for, they talk a lot about in Europe how they have third places, and for a long time, for 4 years when we went to Columbia, our third place was the theater building on 72 East 11th. Shout out 72 East 11th. And so we would hang out there. It was just the place. And now that we're graduated, we're like not allowed in the buildings anymore. Absolutely, I understand security, totally fair. However, like I think like creating Lazy Susan was also creating a third place for all these graduates who didn't really have anywhere to go anymore. So yeah, we've been that's our mission. Just create and creating space for ourselves in the industry, honestly. Kind of nudging our way through there.
I think you kind of answered. The other question I was going to ask is what inspires you creatively and what sustains you all. But I mean, it sounds like a lot of this space for creativity, I don't want to say in any way not professional, because as long as you show up to the space committed, it's
exactly,
professional.
yeah.
And so there is definitely professionalism there, but without this fear of mistake or growth.
Right,
so
right.
That's unless there's anything else that you'd like to add to that.
I
think that's just such a great. Please do.
Okay, so another thing that I am just in love with, enamored with, is the art of theater on film, which is just, the National Theater's TikTok. I don't know if you've seen it, but it is like my biggest inspiration for what I think that Lazy Susan can become in the future. But I mean, it is just such a great way to introduce theater in snippets that are interesting and make you I hate to say lean forward, because we're not leaning forward into the stage, we're leaning forward into our screens. But at the same time, every single time it pops up, I mean, my engagement rate is all the way through, which was kind of our inspiration for creating our last play, which we did, which was called, it was devised, it was called If the Moon Never Came Back. We made it into a film that I edited, and yeah, it is on YouTube now. You can go watch our whole entire play. Shout out our play!
That is awesome. Well, it also sounds just like that accessibility and connectivity and really tangible 2024 strategies and ideas for theater. That's really great. I'm so glad that you all are doing this work here.
Thank you.
I do want to ask some other questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you all are a fairly new company. How have you all found success opening a brand new theater? I mean, I know it's a lot of work getting up and running, but what advice do you all have for those who are also in a place where they want to get together and just make art and theater?
Yeah, I think you just kind of learn as you go. I think a lot of the times theater feels like theater, it feels really big and something that is hard to kind of self-start and do yourself. It just feels like a big thing. At least
how can you hold a flame against all these big dogs up here?
So I think for us it was just we want to do a show. Let's start there, and then we just kind of learned as we went along and solved the problems as we went. Were we flying by the seat of our pants sometimes? Sure, a little bit. But that's just, I think all at the end became a part of the charm of what we were doing. And it's also nice to have a team, that we can kind of bounce things off of and whatnot. So I think just letting go of what you think theater should be or how it should run or what all of the, preconceived kind of notions. Yeah. Just kind of do it and, find people you love and enjoy and that love and enjoy theater and you'll make something. Yeah. And it's good that you make something at the end of the day. That's what it's important. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Community.
Yeah, and I'll also add to that I think it's really important for our age group to demystify the process of what renting a space looks like, of getting production insurance, all this kind of stuff. We were pretty open and honest in our journey with our ensemble, at least during our first show, about this is where we are at in the process right now. We had a misprint on our programs. It was just kind of every little step of the way we would kind of share that with the team instead of acting like we were this perfect, we have done nothing, wrong. It's demystifying the process. And we actually had a couple of actors who were asking us, how would I go about renting like the greenhouse? And I was like so happy to share that information, because sometimes it can feel really like unattainable, that information.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Not just for sharing that, but for doing that. I think it not only builds a sense of community, but also just breaking down those gates, right, that keep people from actually making theater.
Absolutely.
A couple of other questions. Okay, so this is for everyone watching. What performances and events do you all have coming up?
Okay.
So can you tell them a little bit about what they can expect from Lazy Susan?
Yes! Yes! Okay, Neil, go.
So our upcoming show we're looking at April is called Madam and Steve, which is written by the lovely Hannah Loessberg. And it's a take on the creation story, If Eve Was Born First. So it's really funny and just very playful and
A
exciting.
little provocative. How can it not be?
Tasteful.
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 The poster, I'll tell you, is 2 naked Barbie dolls. So,
So yeah, I think also just kind of looking at like what we did with If the Moon Never Came Back. It's kind of like a different formatting. It's like a play structure, whereas like the first show was kind of devised. So now we're going into exploring different styles and different formats and things like that. And it's a really wonderful, it's just really fun play, and I think it'll be good to kind of get butts and seats and just sit people down in the theater to have a good time.
I love that. And that's in April.
That's in
That's in
April.
April.
And we're hoping on the matinee performances to have Madam and Steve and mimosas. We're working that into the contract.
Love that.
Yeah, so come on down.
Yeah. Sweet. I just want to ask one more. What are your goals for Lazy Susan for the next 5 years? And beyond.
And beyond. Oh my gosh. I would love to get to a point where we have like an actual like season going, rather than like, just like show and then like recovery and then show and then recovery. Like I would love to have the challenge of producing as like a season whole. So that's my personal goal with Lazy Susan, and to get on those TikToks. Yeah, outreach.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just, this is a lot to do in 5 years, but I'm just like, I want to bring as many people in as I can, and that's what's nice about doing kind of like piece by piece, like show by show, is, we can get like a whole new cast of people. We can get new lighting designers and new costume designers, and just really start building out that community, so that we kind of have this whole list of people that we know that are really excited about doing theater, and then within that it's connecting with other theaters that are maybe just starting up or have been established for a little bit longer. It's based on the people that you know and that you connect with. So I think for me it's just like slowly expanding, and then hopefully we can kind of take a step back and look at what we've created and be like, it's kind of self-sufficient. People are excited to see our shows, they're excited to hear from us, and see the work that we do. And so hopefully in the next 5 years we can
create a demand.
I love that. I absolutely love what you all are doing, and again, thank you for all the work that you all are bringing to our community. On behalf of the League, we're so excited to have you all as members, and we're so excited to share your work with the rest of our League members. So thank you all for joining us today, and stick around for our next podcast.
Thank you.
I would like to welcome Amber Montgomery, the Associate Director at Shattered Globe, and the director of Jump, as well as Jazzma Pryor, a Shattered Globe Ensemble member who is currently in Jump. Thank you both for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, we're so excited to talk about Jump and Shattered Globe, so we'll kick it off with a couple of questions. We'll start with Amber. Amber, can you tell us what Jump is about and how it fits into your current season?
Yeah, so Jump is about the main character, Faye, and her family. They're dealing with some grief from some loss that they've experienced recently. And I would say the play is about her exploration of that grief, and that is expressed through like magical realism. And also she meets a stranger on a bridge that kind of helps her through that process. So it's about friendship and like the transformational effects of friendship, and also the different ways that the grieving process can look, and how that manifests in, you know, anger and joy. And yeah, I think that's the gist of it. Yeah.
Sweet. And overall, with Shattered Globe's mission, with what you all are curating, I know you all just finished up Flood.
Yes.
So how does that fit into this overall theme that you all are?
Yeah. So this season we were looking at Shattered Globe as, you know, who we've been as a company and kind of the work that we want to be doing and the communities we want to be talking to in the future. And I think this season, more so than, you know, any in the past like decade, really expresses that. We started the season with A View from the Bridge, which we did 30 years ago with the same director who's a founding ensemble member. And then you have Flood, which is a play that's dealing with different generations and also different backgrounds, and what the, you know, the thoughts and the instincts of an older generation is about the world we're living in right now as compared to folks that maybe are like younger or non-white or live like a more queer lifestyle, and what that looks like in our world today. And then you have Jump, which is a play that I think we're all really excited about across the board in the ensemble, with like the different generations and the different backgrounds, that is rooted in like a classic like realistic family drama, which Shattered Globe loves a lot, but is exploring those themes through maybe people and voices like Charlie and Ron Simpsons that we haven't gotten the chance to work on before.
It's powerful. Yeah. Amazing. I want to switch to Jasmine real quick, and I want to ask, so I was told that you actually pitched this show to Shattered Globe, which is amazing, and I'd love to hear more about that. And also, with that, can you tell us about your role in this show and your connection to that?
For sure. So the show was introduced to me by my friend Spencer. He loved this show. He loved Shattered Globe. He said, "Look at this play. This would be great for Shattered Globe." So I read it first before I sent it to Shattered Globe, and I could not put it down. And it's not a long play. It's 90 minutes straight through, wonderful. But I was intrigued by it. I was drawn into it. The characters, the stories. I really related to the character Faye, who I play. And I definitely thought that this was the right show for Shattered Globe to add into our season. I didn't know if it was going to be this season or future, but I was like, we need to really consider this play. So the character that I play is Faye. She's the younger sister. She's about 28, 30-ish, somewhere in there. She kind of marches to the beat of her own drum, kind of like the black sheep of the family, is very different from everyone, not very apologetic to how she wants to live her life and who she is. And it's interesting when Amber was talking about the way that everybody processes grief, that kind of manifests in how she's dealing with, you know, what's happening in the show as well. So when you see someone who doesn't act the way you think they should act, when you lose someone, you're like, do you have a problem? I'm like, no, we're just different. That's all it is. So I really related to that because I feel like I'm the youngest in my family. I'm the younger sister, and I'm like the only artist as well. So I am Faye in a lot of ways in my family. I kind of like say what's on my mind and maybe apologize for it later, but that's just, it is what it is, you know? So I just really related to the story, to Faye, the character. I see Judy as my older sister Stacy so much. So yeah, it's great.
And pushing this story and championing it, what is one thing that you want people to take away from experiencing this story?
I would say, you know, at some point in all of our lives, we'll all experience grief. Different forms. It can be familial, it can be friendship, it can be a pet. You know, we'll all experience grief in some way. And I think just allowing yourself to process that the best way that you can, and not trying to force it. There's no time limit, there's no right way to go about it. I think that there'll be people that come to the show that might currently be grieving, and maybe this will help them get through that. Then this might be a show that people who aren't prepared for that, and then it happens, can look back on this show and realize these people are different and they processed it differently, and to give myself grace, to give my friends, my family, other people who are dealing with it a little bit of grace, and realize that we're all in this together.
What a gift. Oh my gosh. Sweet. Well, I'm hooked. Gosh. You got me. Thank you for sharing that. I want to switch back to Amber real quick. So with this, and now hearing a little bit more about why you chose this show and what you're curating with this season, what is Shattered Globe's mission, and what do you see for the future? What are you all trying to pursue?
Yeah, well, our mission, or I would say like our goal as a theater company is like big impact in small spaces, and I think this show definitely is a great example of what being like this close up on a family experiencing like some of the like largest emotions and times in your life that you can. Well, you know, during our time here, I think people are really going to be affected by that, and it's definitely going to land on what we're trying to do. And you know, having Charlie as a playwright, and I think, you know, a team of artists that are like predominantly like women in the space. It's a story centered around like a Black woman. I think is also, when we're doing a play in a city like Chicago, is definitely falling within our mission and speaking directly to our community. And when you think about grief too, and doing theater in a post-2020 world, I think I've been saying this since the first day of rehearsal, but I think that we've all grieved something, or been very close to grief in like as collectively, like globally. So being able to talk about these themes like right now is definitely like the kind of like relevance that we're shooting for as a company too. We want people to feel seen, and we want to bring people closer together. And I think no matter who comes and sees this story, they're going to see themselves in this, and these characters are someone that they know, which is what we all want. So.
I in line with that, and there's so much intentional connection there. Jazzma, you are an ensemble member with Shattered Globe, right? So can you tell us about your journey that led you to the artistic team, and what advice would you give to anyone who's trying to become an ensemble member at any theater in Chicago?
Oh, okay. Well, I started off with Shattered Globe in 2016 as a protege in our protege program.
More.
Yes, our protege. I actually work with Amber as well on the protege program. So it's with young emerging artists in Chicago, and we have auditions, and they submit, we have auditions, and we put together a small ensemble, usually like 15, 16 students who then meet every weekend, 2 days a week. We'll have Chicago artists come in and teach them different things like movement, auditioning, ensemble work, you know, several different things. And they prepare their own solo piece. And then they have like a performance at the end. And they build their own little community. So we had a lot of people who were in Chicago, several people who were in Chicago within their first year. And so it helped them find some kind of theater community. And already the people from this past protege year have directed shows, acted in shows. One of them understudied for Flood. One of them just got into, I don't know if it's, I'm not going to say who, but just got into DePaul MFA. I wrote a letter of recommendation. That was really exciting. So it's really cool to see these young artists start off with Shattered Globe and like are out there doing their thing. Oh, someone started their own production company. They're doing their own production of a show this year. Oh my God, how did I forget that? That's a bit, okay. It's like, they're like taking
She
off.
loves it.
They are like my baby. I'm like so proud of all of them so much. So I started off as a protege in 2016. And then I did a couple of smaller shows, smaller parts with Shattered Globe. And with working in the protege and then working in the other shows, I think it was Hannah Martin and it was one more. But it was 2 shows, and then the ensemble member, Christina, I think she told me, she suggested that we enjoy working with Jazzma. Let's see if she would be interested in being an ensemble member. And so I was like, heck yes, I would love to be an ensemble member with Shattered Globe. I love where we're going. I love the stories that we're telling and all of that. So what is it, 2024, so 8 years?
Yes, sir.
So
Yeah.
it's like the 8-year little trek for me from starting as a protege to being here now. And even people who were in my protege cohort, I still keep in contact with a lot of them. I just did a sketch with Nick DeMasso, who his sketch was submitted to the LA Comedy Festival. And like it's really cool to start off that way and have like other theater artists that you can go to or like do projects with or all of that kind of stuff. So I would say people who are interested in being in an ensemble, I say just be open to it, open to, how can I say this? I say as an artist, sometimes people's egos get in the way, you want to go there. So don't let your ego get in the way. Like, enjoy the process. If like theater is like therapy for me. You know, that's how I felt into it. So when I started off, I wasn't getting like the big parts. I had smaller parts. I auditioned for a show, several shows I didn't think I would get cast in. Surprisingly, I got cast in it. So I would say even if you don't start off getting those big roles, like relish in meeting new people, relish in being on stage, relish in the opportunity of like creating art. You know, a lot of people don't get that opportunity to do that. So I definitely would suggest putting that to the side, building relationships, going to theater, seeing what theaters speak to you, what stories and like what missions that they're trying to do, and try to work with those theaters. The people that you enjoy working with, that you build relationships with, see what they're doing. Maybe you guys can do something together, or networking is always great.
It's hard though.
Right, it is hard. It is
Yeah.
hard, but that's what I would say. I said just keep it up. Even if you're not, I always tell artists and actors, even if you're not currently creating art, you're always an artist. So don't ever say like, oh, I'm not doing enough. No, that's never going to leave. You can take years off, and that artist is always going to be there, and you can come back. So I would say don't give up. Keep trying.
What a wonderful mission, community.
Yeah.
And on that, if people want to get involved, Amber, people want to follow up and just keep tabs on what Shattered Globe is doing, how can they stay connected?
Yeah.
Follow our Instagram.
Sweet, okay.
Shattered Globe Theater. Check out our website, sgttheater.org. We sign up for our email list. You know, we perform out of Theater Wit. So when we're having shows, that's where you can find us. You can also find information about our shows on Theater Wit's website. And also, you know my name, Amber Montgomery. This is Jazzma Pryor. We're posting about the things that we're doing pretty often, so you can also find us there.
Staying connected.
Yeah.
Can we get a little sneak peek into what's next for Shattered Globe?
Yeah, I mean, no.
Exclusive.
I mean, we have our spring benefit that's coming up in May, and that's also always really exciting. It's the Shadow Globe Soiree. So if you're interested, you can purchase tickets to that. There are always like performances and really fun things to bid on or donate to invest in the future of the theater and all the work that we're doing. If you like it, that's how we stay open. So and we're currently in process of planning our next season, so stay on the lookout for that. We should have some really exciting artists that we're working with, some after much collaboration and some for the first time.
So stay connected, stay tuned, and enjoy the soiree.
Yes, get your tickets.
So Jump is taking place at Theater Wit. Can you tell us when we can check that out and where we can get tickets?
Wonderful. So we have previews April 19th through the 21st, and we open April 22nd and run Thursday through Sundays until June 1st. You can buy tickets on our website, which is sgtheater.org/jump.
And that's theater with an R-E.
R-E.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you both so much for being with us today. We so appreciate it. We wish you all the best on Jump and everything that Shattered Globe is doing.
Thank you so much.